Hello, this is Carl, creator of Carl's Bible Program, and we are right now in the search box, and I want to show you a couple upgrades that I've made. The first one is going to be the reference search. I'll go over this real quick and then we'll go over it in a little more detail. What this program does, if you have a book that has Bible scripture references in it, but it doesn't look up the verses for you, this will look up the verses and let you see what they are. So my first book I'm going to go over is, well, I'll go over this list first. This list is something we're doing in our church. It's called the Jesus Series Bible Reading Plan. And there's a whole bunch of different references in here that we would need to be looking up. This is like on a daily basis, 6 days a week. We would read a passage of scripture. It'd be preached about, and we'd have Bible studies on it, like in people's homes and stuff. And it's pretty good. Um, Today is March 2nd, so we're actually going to be going to the one before March 2nd, which would be the last of February. So we're going to take this here from February. I'm just going to copy this. And this would be our reading plan for this week. And you just paste it in here. You'll see all your references. And then we click on Get My References. So it looked through there, and the first thing it found was 2, and the date 2/26, and it's wondering if that's a verse. And if it is, we can type in the verse here. It didn't think it was, then it's not, so it didn't put anything in there. And then it did the same thing with 26. Now you notice these asking for a verse, they're in yellow. Okay. Here we have it found Matthew 21, 1-27. And it tells you this is the book that I found, and this is the scripture references, and then it spit each one of them out over here. It put them in singly like this. Now you can put them in if you wanted to do. You can use regular expressions here as well as like in the search box. So like you type in John, and then put a space, and if you wanted to do like 1:, then that would bring back the entire book of John, chapter 1. But it takes a little more time for it to find verses that way, but it'll do it, and it'll seem pretty quick, so you won't see anything, any noticeable difference, but it will take a little bit more time. Um, since this one picked up Matthew, it held on to the Matthew name, and it found 2 and the date of 2/27, and it wants to know if that's Matthew chapter 2. If it is, you can click on this, and it'll put it right over here for you. And you'll notice that this starts with the caret, and it just does that as a default. It didn't have to do it for Matthew, but if it was First John and you didn't put the caret, it could find Second John and Third John too. Or if it was just John, it could find First, Second, and Third John if you don't put the caret. So it's holding on to Matthew, and it's doing that for the 27. And then you just keep on going down here, and it does the same thing for all these. Now down at the bottom here, you have your choice of selections. How do you want to handle these verses? You can do an editable verse list, which will spit out your what's been printed. You can do a printed list. That's just something so you can print it. But editable, you can like have all your tools for doing a Bible study. And then you could just make it a verse list, so it's just going to save it as search results. Then they'll be in the order that they are listed there. And any duplicates will be duplicated. So let's just do an editable list, and we'll see what this is like. Okay, this brings me up to the top of the screen. I can scroll down, and here's what it has first, and then it found the Matthew 21 to 1-27. And then it lists all these verses. Now, as you can see, this font might be a little bit big. So let me go to the font box, because you have settings in the font box that you can be using to adjust the size of your text. And then I'm going to go back to the search box, and now you'll notice it's gone. and I click on this because this will uncheck the help box when I click on it, and then I can roll the mouse up without having any interference. Now I don't have to paste that back in there, and if I don't, it'll just pop it back up and leave it. That's the way I left it. So if I had to make any changes in here, maybe I didn't want all the verses in there, then I could still keep those changes here. So now I'm going to push the do it button again to get my editable list back. And I have the smaller font size now. Now up top here, you see this has a yellow background. You can click this, and then this one here has a yellow background. You can't click this one, but you can click it where the yellow background is. And what those yellow backgrounds will do is the same thing that it did before. So I clicked on the 21.3, and I pushed the shift for the underscore key, and it put me to 21.3. The default one is the top one. Okay, and then as you remember from before, we can cycle through 7 different ones. And this is helpful when you're doing a Bible study and you must go, hey, I clicked on this one. What did it say? Okay, well that's pretty much it for this one. Now let me go back down to the search box, and this time I am going to get this Moses the Economist book. This is an excellent book. If you ever get your hands on this book, it's good at telling you how Moses had set up the economy for the nation of Israel. And well, I'm just going to select the whole thing. Control A, Control C, and I'll click on this again, and I'll paste in my new one. Now this is going to erase the old one. Up here's a bunch of directions for you too to help you understand how it works better. And here's some different searching, because every year, like, it found the number 1. So if it ever finds a number, it's going to put that in there, and it's not going to count it as a verse or a chapter or anything until you say that's what it is, and you'll have to enter that over here. But it found this Deuteronomy 11:18 to 21. And what it does when it finds like a range like this, it puts individual verses in here. Helps it go through it a lot quicker when it's going to pull your verses out. If you needed to, you could delete some of these verses or add another one. If you want to say maybe Deuteronomy 11:22, you can edit this. It picked up the number 2 here, and it put Deuteronomy on it because that was the last book of the Bible that it found. And it didn't know maybe it was talking about Deuteronomy, then later on it just mentioned a verse number or something. And so it's trying to put in a verse or a chapter here. This is underlined, means you can click on this. It has in the regular expression. Up here it's talking about regular expressions and what you can do to add and give you a couple tips on that. But this would find the entire chapter of Deuteronomy 2, and I don't want that in there. It's picking up 1947. We know that's not part of the Bible. It's getting this out of like a PO box and a year and a zip code because it's a number. So you have to skip through a bunch of them like that. Now here's picking up Levi, and it wants to know if this is Leviticus. It'll pick up like abbreviations. So if it is, it's underlined, you can click it, and it'll throw in the entire book of Leviticus. Or you could edit it and make it a chapter or something like that. And then it's pulling Leviticus down because it found what it thought was Leviticus up here, and it's asking about Leviticus 13. This is only just a page number. Here's numbers 36. That's an abbreviation, and it's pulling out numbers 36, getting you the whole chapter. Now you notice that the color of this is blue. The color of this one is yellow. The blue ones are for, like, it thinks it might be the book of the Bible, or the yellow ones thinks it's a verse. So that's a little hint as you're scrolling through. The white ones, it's something that it found and it's dealt with that. And here they're talking about the Hebrew people. It's like it's the book of Hebrews. So now we got to the end of the book, and we can make a selection now. What do we want to do with these verses? We can put it in an editable verse list, we can put it in a printed list, or we can just save it as a verse list. These will overwrite your search results, so whichever one you do, you're going to have this one will also overwrite your editable verse list. This time I'm going to just do a printed list, okay? And before I do that, I'm going to go to the font box. I'm going to turn off my notes. I don't want the notes in the printed list, okay? So I'll go back to my search box and I'll click do it. And here we have it. And you can see there's the one in America's Promise that it pulled out. And then it has your Deuteronomy references, and here's Deuteronomy verses. And this book actually does put some of the scriptures in here as the days of heaven upon the earth. And you'll probably find that somewhere in here. Here it is right in the very end, as the days of heaven upon the earth. So this book actually pulls out a lot of the scriptures, but this way you can double check it. And it's always a good thing to double check. Okay, I'm going to go back to my other document that I wanted to show you, and this is the water horse. I'll go back to my search box, click on the reference search, and so now this one's the water horse. And we can go down here and just see that there's some places AM, and it's wondering if it's Amos. And it's talking about the King James Bible, and it's picking out maybe it's the book of James. Okay, and here it looks like this could actually be the following verses. So this is Proverbs 3:7, then there's a 14:27, 15:16, 19:2. So I'm actually just going to click on these to add those verses in there, because it looks like that might be the case. Okay, this looks a little funny because there's the same references on both of these, the same verse. I'm going to have to check that one out. Let me just copy this right now just so I can copy it. I can even go back to the original document and look for it that way too. Okay, so I'll make my selection. I'm going to do a printed list again. Okay, now I'm going to actually, there we go. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. And then it's quoting the Proverbs 12:25. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. Okay, and then here is the next time that they mentioned it. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Okay, that does not sound like this, the same verse. And I'm going to search for words like honeycomb, sweetness, and maybe health. Let's see what that brings me. So back to the search box. Honeycomb. You know what? I think I'll just do honeycomb and health and see what that gets. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Yeah, there we go. That's Proverbs 16:24. So that was a mistake that they made. So let me go back to my search reader, get my references, and then I'm going to just click on this so I get my same thing back. And then this one here, and change this to 16:24, because that was they had a mistake in their book. And I'll click do it. And then here we have 16:24. The book still says 12:25, but we put the right verse in here. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body, Pleasant words are as in honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. Okay, they're using a different translation. Normally in red text searching, it will bring the thing up red with the proper words. But I did find a glitch in that, and I made a change in the program. It's not going to get everything. I'm just going to put a \B here. And then search. So I had a problem where this was giving me a wrong verse. And then if I go through these, I'm pretty sure they're all correct now. But if it wasn't, there would actually be a little pop-up show up on the screen, and it'll tell you that there's some verses that it couldn't do. And you'll still get the verse, but it'll be black text. It won't have the red in it. But you'll see that it had one man in it. And right now, I don't know of any that I can do off the top of my head that will give me that kind of issue. So I just wanted to let you know that's something else that was changed in the program. Okay, I'm going to go over the word select search dialog right now. What I've done, I made a search for as it is written. I want to find some like prophecies in the New Testament and try to find them in the Old Testament. So right now I've got this one that talks about the people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And apparently it's written in Isaiah. Now I go to my topics and I'm looking through my topics. I don't see one for Isaiah in there, so I don't have that one. And this word select search dialog is going to help me get it. What I do, I'll click on this, and it puts this verse in there. It doesn't duplicate words, so if there's words in there only once, then it'll be in here just once. These numbers up here, right up to the right, this will tell me like 7,905 times the word he is in the Bible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for the word lips, which is in there 118 times. And I'm also going to look for heart. So now, it would have to have lips and heart to appear in the results. So let me click on look for my verses. It's pulled out quite a few. And if we look up top here, we have the lips, which is 118. And if we look at lips here, it shows me 118. Heart is 13 times. It has to have heart and lips. So of the 118, only 13 have heart. So when I come down here, Hannah spoke in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunk. Well, that's not exactly the verse I'm looking for. So I would just go down and look through all these verses, and it said it was in Isaiah. So here's one that's in Isaiah. Wherefore the Lord has said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precepts of men. Okay, so I'm going to click on this plus, and that'll add this to my topics. And then I'm not sure which all ones were in here. There's Matthew, and then I'm going to put Mark in here also, because these three all refer to each other. I could put on all these if I wanted to, but I'm going to click Finish and Close. Okay, down here you're seeing we have 8 topics for Matthew 15:8. I click on this. Now it's saying we have 9 for 15:8. So let's look through here. And there's the Isaiah one we just added, the 29:13. Now we close this. Now this word this word select dialog box, you can find this in different places within the program. This is the search reader. It's also in the Bible reader right here. And it's also here in the editable verse list. And you can select these for any of these verses and do the same thing. Now, one more thing I'll point out. When you have this set up over here, all this does here is just enter the word. Okay, you can type in here. Maybe you don't want to say commandments. You just want commandment. You can get rid of the S if you want. And same with judgments. You get rid of that. Testimonies. You can put it in twice. And testimony. And then actually you would probably want to do an or if you're going to do it that way, because it will pick up either one. So let's search for that. It didn't find any of the testimonies or testimony that didn't have an S on commandments or judgment. So, but you can put your own words in there. You don't have to use these. Okay, well that wraps up this. And let's move on to my next update. When you're double clicking on a word like children, and you get this pop-up, down here, it finds the verse that you're in and it goes 25 forwards, 25 back. It tries to get right in the middle. So you can look through some context of different nearby areas where children was used. So you can see yours was this yellow one that we clicked on, Deuteronomy 11:19, and it went back in the Bible, and then it also went forwards. And there's many more times when it's in there, but it puts up to 50, so that should give you plenty of places for referencing and being sure that you got your words correct and you're understanding what the words mean in the context of different areas of the Bible where you are. When we look up here, children, it's in the Old Testament 1,644 times, and the whole Bible is 1,797. Okay. So that was the other upgrade. Now there's another thing that you're going to have to understand. With this upgrade, it also came a version change. It's not all zeros here anymore, there's some ones. When you start Carl's Bible Power Up after you make your upgrades, you're going to get some notices. It'll tell you that the versions don't match from your auto load, your desktop files, your personal file settings. And all you really need to do is just resave them. And once you resave them, it'll put the right version number into those files. It's not going to affect the way they operate at all. These upgrades will not. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you using Carl's Bible Power.